Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is our pleasure to welcome Tommy Fleetwood to the interview room. Tommy, thanks for joining us and kicking us off with our first media interview for the 2019 Masters. When you were a child, I read that you and your father Pete used to sneak on to Royal Birkdale. You later made your first cut in an Open Championship there in 2017. That weekend must have brought back some pretty special memories. And what are your first memories also of the Masters?
Well, the first one I ever remember watching was the proper one that I first watched was in '97 when Tiger won. Before that, I remember Nick Faldo holing his putt to win in '96. But before that, I've not really got much recollection. But I remember watching in '97. I was 6, and I remember my dad saying. He said something like this guy's going to be good, meaning Tiger. He said this guy's going to win a few when he won. And that's sort of, obviously that for me being the age I am, that was the start of not just my Masters memories, it was the start of sort of Tiger's era then for me. So it was cool to watch that. And again, one of those tournaments, there's only a set few tournaments that you would watch every year in, year out. And the Masters is like number one on that list.
Cool. You had a fantastic month in March. Top 5 finishes at the Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Players. Congratulations. This is now your 3rd appearance at the Masters. How comfortable are you feeling with your game and being back here at Augusta National?
Everything's been in better shape as the year's gone on. Didn't start as fast as I have done in the past couple of years, so worked my way into the season. I think Arnold Palmer in particular, I built a lot of confidence that week, and then the following week was as confident as I felt on a golf course. And it's strange when you have the 2 best finishes of the year and you're disappointed in both of them, because I really felt like I had good chances in both, and I didn't win either, but. Overall, everything's in really good shape. I feel great being here this week. I feel you now I've been here. This is my 3rd time playing. You really get a sense of like the difference in how you feel from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. Year 1, it's also new and not overwhelming, but there's so much to take in, and it's your first time here. Year 2, you've been here already, so you're more comfortable with it, and it just kind of progresses like that to the point where I'm not at like a Freddie Couples stage yet or anything like that, but I'm getting a better a better understanding and a feeling of the tournament and the course and what that involves.
That's great. Thanks, Tommy. I'll open up for questions.
Hey, Tommy. Just was wondering, looking at your scoring averages from Thursday, Friday over to Saturday, Sunday, is getting over the hump and turning some of these close calls into wins, is it just a matter of finding Thursday, Friday Tommy when you need him on the weekend?
Yeah, like there has been like a little bit of a trend, and sort of the thing to realize is like Saturdays I haven't played great at times, but also I haven't done loads wrong either. And if you put yourself up there on Friday, you play in the toughest conditions on Saturday, and if your game's not quite on, or if you don't play well, then it looks worse than what it is. The Saturday at Bay Hill for me and Keegan and the guys that are out late, I actually played okay that day, but it's like playing a US Open on a Saturday. If you get the wrong side of the golf course, then you're struggling. But for sure, like putting 4 rounds of golf together, there's 72 holes in a week over the course of 4 days. It's a long time, and it's a lot of golf shots. And to win, you're always going to have bad stretches, but you have to put 4 consistent rounds of golf together, or 3, and then the 4th one needs to be okay. Poor round isn't going to get it done. So, and that's not easy. You're playing the toughest golf courses and you're playing with the best players in the world, and winning's not easy. But that I think the fact that is what we're looking at quite often now just shows that I've done really well over the past couple of years. I've put myself up there a lot, and it really is just a case of letting it happen, and the more you dwell on it and the more you try, it gets harder and harder. So I think just be really happy with the amount of good stuff that I continue to produce, and just try and make sure in the future. I think that if I can make that round just more consistent and just level it out, then things will be good.
Richard.
Tommy, do you treat this week any differently because it's the Masters, or do you try to look at it as just another week on tour?
It's not just another week on tour, but you try and do everything the same. I think whether this was a regular event or the Masters, the golf course itself needs a bit more preparation than usual. Anyway, there's so many different things to consider. There's so many options here and there, and particularly hitting into greens, chipping around the greens and putting this. I don't think you can ever learn enough. So just the golf course itself takes more preparation. But aside from that, everything's amped up. It's the Masters. There's a different atmosphere. It's first major of the year. And, everything just seems like, when you get to this week, everything that's happened before just doesn't really matter. This is it. So you can't, you can't get away from the fact that it feels different. But still, you prepare the same as you do for your golf game, and the golf course just needs a little bit of extra time and work. But apart from that, try and keep everything as, neutral and similar as possible.
Phil.
You had the third round 66 here last year. What was it that day that clicked for you that you can learn from and take into this week?
Well, the course was, that Saturday, the course was probably as giving as it'll ever be, really. It was pretty soft. There wasn't much wind. And there was a lot of low scores that day. I played particularly good that day. And I actually remember, so I missed the cut in the first year, and then I think the first 2 days I might have bogeyed the last to shoot level, and I'd actually never beaten the golf course up until that Saturday. And I was really sort of determined that I would get the better of the golf course. And I just played great that day. I didn't hold any putt of any distance pretty much. I think I held like an 18-footer on 12, but apart from that, it was all just really good golf, and I felt really good on there. And like I say, the golf course itself, that if I drive it like I normally do, it sets me up in the best possible way to be able to hit my irons into the spots that you need to, and you can control your ball. That Saturday in particular, just that it was just set up for good scoring, and I was one of them that made the most of it.
John.
Tommy, has the compressed schedule impacted your preparation for this, and is it impacting how you think you will prepare for everything that's coming up?
Not really. I like to have particularly in the majors, I like to have the week off before a major. At the USPGA, I can't do that, as the British Masters is on the week before that. But no, it doesn't change. It doesn't change much. And to be fair, I've always played a lot. It actually makes the schedule a little bit easier, and I'm actually going to end up with a little bit more time off and a bit more time at home, which will be really nice. But no, the preparation for the major stays the same. I'll try and have a week off before and make sure I get here a little bit earlier and do my stuff gradually throughout the week. But tournament-wise, no, just keep going. I've always been a guy that's played quite a lot, and I've always felt like I do a good job of staying ready. I like to, even when I go home, just kind of stay on top of things when you are off. But I always feel like I do a good job of staying ready. So, nothing really has affected anything in that sense.
Paul.
Tommy, did your pairing last year with Tiger Woods have some impact on you as you observed how he played the golf course, or as you felt that you really belonged?
No, it was a great experience because it was the first time Tiger had been back, and it wasn't necessarily for me. Whoever I play with really is kind of, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant in a way because you concentrate on your own stuff, and especially around a golf course like this, you're not going to be watching what somebody else is doing. You're on your game, and it's important to stay focused. But I enjoyed Tiger's comeback to this event and the way the crowd were and the way the fans reacted to him being back. And I got a front row seat in just seeing that atmosphere, really. And I thought that was that was a nice sort of memorable couple of days, really, just for that, just for the sheer, he hadn't been around for a while at the Masters, and how the fans took to him so well. So I enjoyed that. But no, I never, it didn't change the way, like my outlook to anything or how I feel or how I play. It was, I think it was my first time ever playing with him. But again, like I say, it doesn't really make any difference because you have to be so, in your own space and in your own bubble that it, nothing like that, however I play with, has never really affected me.
Neil.
Hi, Tommy. Just take you back to the Sunday at Sawgrass and the way you really went for the pin on 17, really going for it. What does that say about your attitude to golf? And can we expect the same sort of approach here on Sunday if you're in contention, different course, but the same sort of thing?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think anything of it really on Sunday. I was 2 behind with 2 to play, and there was only one way I was ever going to get close, and it was to go for it, and it didn't come off. But I didn't really think anything of it, and people's reaction was great. Really, that I don't know why people would expect me to play for the middle of the green if I had a chance of catching Rory, and but maybe that's my difference in some other people. But of course, I'm always gonna play to win. I've got nothing really. Like I'm never gonna. Not really that golf will ever define me as a person, but I'm never going to look back on my career and say, I finished 3rd at the Players. That was a good week. Or I finished top 5 at the Masters. I made a couple of nice pars on the last 2 to finish top 5. That's never something that I'll ever probably say to my kids or my grandkids. That's not something to be that proud of. But winning is what it's all about. Not for anything other than to win tournaments and big tournaments, the Players or the majors. I want to win them, not for a financial standpoint or anything. It'd just be nice to have on my resume. So, nothing really. 2nd or 6th or 7th makes a difference to your bank account, but it doesn't make any difference to how you see anything else.
David.
Tommy, you haven't played here that much, but what do you think of the change to number 5? Do you like the change? How much tougher is the hole going to play?
It's funny because the tee shot is exactly the same. Basically, the test off the tee, they brought the bunkers back, so the yardages off your drive is exactly the same. But it does make a massive difference to the hole. I think in the past, if you hit it into the bunkers, you actually had half a chance of getting it, somewhere up by the green. Now you've got no chance. I hit a good drive yesterday and the course was playing really soft and a bit long, and I hit 5-iron in. That was like good drive last year. If you can be aggressive with the driver, wedge or 9-iron to that middle part of the green is fine. It's not a difficult shot. So the hole's been made much more of a challenge that you have to hit 2, you have to hit 2 really good shots now to put yourself in position. And you can't, laying up really leaves it, if you wanted to play short of the bunkers, that really makes the hole, in my view, it makes it a little bit too long. So I think definitely it's a bigger test of a hole for sure.
Michael.
Tommy, have you found that the weather has been kind of rainy and such, and have you found out that the course has been a little softer? Justin Thomas and Jason Day said, it's been a little softer. What's yours?
Yeah, it's definitely softer, and I think around the greens it makes a difference because the grass is just that little bit lusher. Definitely makes chipping nicer and a bit easier when it's been firm and they've had it tight and the grass can grow against you a little bit. Just off the green has been so difficult because it's so hard to put or chip around the green. So at the moment, with it being softer and there being a little bit more grass, you can just get the club on the ball easy. So around the greens, it really has made a difference. And for sure, it's playing longer. The tee shots, you're getting nothing out of, slight misstrike. And you're a couple of clubs longer and into the greens and that, that all adds up. So, it also plays in, it's better in a sense that the greens are softer. So, you've got more leeway hitting into the greens, but it also makes it play longer. I think we'd all rather it be softer though than harder.
Last 2 questions, Anne.
Hi, Tommy. What would you say has been the highlight of your year so far on and off the course?
Good question. I think on the course, probably I enjoyed the back nine on Saturday at Sawgrass. I think that was great from a character perspective, and I played some really good golf when I was struggling on a tough course, and it was a really good atmosphere. Off the course every day is a highlight for me. So,
Last question, Gary.
Tommy, is there an obvious stat or data point that would be reflected in a good total Sunday? And is there one that's not so obvious that you think is valuable for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. From my perspective, driver's always a massively important club. And if I use my strength well, it opens up a lot of opportunities for me on the golf course, especially if it's playing soft. I guess around Augusta, it's always going to be. I think people make a big deal about the greens and around the greens, but if your approach play is hot and really good, you're always going to put yourself. Most of the time, you're going to put yourself in the right positions, and you're going to be able to score from there. And it's very difficult to hold putts around here. So you try not to make too big of a deal about the test of the golf course because it's so different to what we play normally. But for me, I know what it takes for me to win, and that's kind of all I ever look at. We always do our work before a tournament, and I'll get my report on how I'm going to perform well this week. And in general, it's always the same: drive it well, hole out well, and the other stuff keep that in check and keep that solid. And I think that's always a good system.
Thanks, Tommy, and
Thank
we
you.
wish you all the best for the week ahead.
Thank you, guys.